I'm the mother of Siri, our daughter, and this is my husband.
Hi, I'm Yuli.
We have three children, Siri, Vamsi, and Kiran. Our daughter is the oldest one. She was diagnosed as autistic when she was 3 years old. I host a radio show every Monday at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on telugu1radio.com. Telugu is a South Indian language, and it's internet based, and the show goes wherever the internet is, because it's internet based. Well, anyway, we Siri was born, and it was difficult to understand her, and she would cry constantly. And my husband, he's an ER physician, which means he works long, odd hours, and each day is so different. And me being very shy and very quiet person, it was very difficult to manage with her, and I wouldn't know who to ask, why I was so uncomfortable, and it was so difficult to bond with her. And so we took her to the pediatrician. Am I doing saying correctly? So we took her to pediatrician because the preschool told us that she was being very quiet and she's playing by herself, or else she's taking a pillow and she's sleeping in the corner. So we took her to the pediatrician, and the pediatrician said she's only 2.5 years old, so come back when she's three. So we took her back when she was 3 years old. Actually, her birthday is September 30th, and my husband's birthday is October 4th. And we always used to take the 4th off because we would go to San Francisco downtown, where my daughter used to enjoy going in the piers. So we had the pediatrician appointment, and after that we were planning to go out for the day. So we went to the pediatrician, and they said that she's autistic, and I believe that she said just that word. And I thought, yeah, whatever. It didn't bother me because she said, yeah, that is how it is, or something like that. It did not give any effect on me. But then when I saw my husband, he's become very quiet and very withdrawn, and that really worried me because I didn't understand why he was so sad that they diagnosed her as that. And later on, I came to know what it actually is. Actually, I had to ask my husband how you spell autism, because that was the first time I heard the word. So she was 3 years old, exactly 3 years and 2 days, when she got diagnosed. And I didn't know what to do, but I heard somebody say that ABA really works. So we had ABA company, um, uh, which just started in San Francisco at that time. So we went and talked to them, and we got her evaluated. And we did 40 hours per week of ABA. And the when we started doing that, she showed an immediate response. She was able to respond to her name, and we could understand a little bit more, and her hyperactivity came down. She was sleeping well. So we were very happy, and then we planned for our second kid, who is very typical and very outgoing, and he was pretty normal. So we thought that the second kid wanted to interact with our daughter, and she would always ignore him. Then we thought that we should have another kid, because we already found out that ABA was actually helping my daughter. And then we had a third one, and that's how we ended up being parents of three children. So she went to through the school system from age whatever 3 years through 5 to 22. We tapered off ABA at age 11, And then when she started going to school in teenagers, it was very difficult. I would drop her off and then come back and wait at home because they would call me to come pick her up. She used to have behaviors, so I would go drop her off and then sit by the phone, just being scared because I know that they would call me. There is no school that I would think that, okay, I dropped her off, I can do something else on my own, because every day was very unpredictable. So that's how she went through her whole school system. And then at the end of around 18, 19 years old, we found a school close by. And they were actually teaching her better and they were giving her choices and all that. So she started responding in a different way. And after the school system, she was at home because she is very minimal in communication skills, minimal and unreliable. So when she was 22, we didn't know what to do with her because there was nothing else. Day programs, the ones that we found, was not having a lot of activities going on. They would just make the uh, individual sit down and give a coloring paper, very basic minimum thing. And before that, I want to mention that her behaviors were so difficult. The school used to transport her in a taxi every day, and even that used to be very rough. So 22 was done, and she was at home. We didn't know what to do with her, and at the same time, my middle child Vamsi, he went into army. So when he signed up for army, I was very sad because we never had him out of the house. And then my daughter was home and my son was not at home. So it was difficult for me. But then at the same time, I used to be very careful to make sure that my daughter doesn't notice that I'm sad. She is very, she can actually, she gets affected through our moods, especially mine. So I would behave like I'm very happy all the time. And on Facebook, I saw that soldiers, like I said, my son Vamsi went into army. They said that they were looking for care packages. I didn't know what care packages were. So when I asked, the parents said it's a simple toiletry things that you put in a box and send it to the army base. So they gave us a bunch of addresses with their names on it. So I knew what to buy and put in the box. So I told my daughter to pick a paper and a pen. And I told her to write what I was going to tell her, toothbrush and toothpaste and things like that. So she was writing each item and she looked at me like, oh, now I know what you want me to do. Until then, we had a kind of disconnect. She would always be repelled by my presence. Any room I would walk into, she would just get up and go. Uh, she would be there only when there is meal, whenever I would serve her food, but that's it, nothing more than that. And at that time, she would always say, no, mommy, only daddy. So I thought maybe it's something to do with autism. And of course, moms, you know how we feel, right? If our kids don't like to have us around. But then the second I started telling her this is what we are going to buy, and then on the other side of the paper, I told her to write the store names that we were going to go to get these items. And she was very happy. The look in her eyes communicated a lot to me. Like she understood what I was trying to do with her. So we took the list, went to the store. She knew exactly where the items were, even though we never bought those things. She knew where those items were in the store. We brought them home, and then we went to post office, got the box, and made the boxes and sent them away. And the soldiers used to and we included a thank you card in that. And Siri's handwriting is so good that um, I would tell her to write, and I made her write a Bible verse, Jeremiah 29:11. In the verse, it says that God has a great plan for each one of us, and the plan is not to harm us, but to bless us and give us a good life. So I would have her write the Bible verse on one side, and on the other side, I would write to the soldiers saying that my son is with them, training with them, and this box is put together by my daughter who has autism. So I would write to them, and then they would write back saying that, thank you for this box and things like that. So I would read those letters to her, thinking that hoping that she would understand what the soldiers were saying. And then once they graduated, the connection we had with them was gone. During that time, so once the connection was gone, we didn't have any more work to do. Every morning she would sit at the dining table waiting to see what I wanted her to do, next. Actually, we connected in such a way that when you have a favorite aunt, how we look forward to spending time with them, that's how she used to look forward for me. So then I thought she loves jewelry. Which girl doesn't love jewelry? She loves beads and bright colored beads. So I took her to the bead store. I got her a lot of beads, and we came home. And anything I tell her, she does very quickly. So I need to be two steps ahead to see what else I want her to do. And she started, I told her to break the strings. She broke the strings, and I didn't know what else to do. And I asked her to separate them by color, shapes, and sizes, and all that. And then I had her count. I was just making her do things that just to keep her busy, but I didn't know what else I wanted her to do next. Then I thought maybe I should teach her how to make jewelry, which I did not know how to. So I went to the YouTube. I saw how to make simple earrings, got a pin and put the beads in and made a loop. Um, I got one plier and I got one for her, and her loop was perfect compared to me and mine. So she started making earrings, and at once she used to make a lot, and we started giving away to our friends and family, and then they would start giving her money, and we would say no, it's just hobby that she's doing. And then my husband said, why don't we just start a business on her name? And we started a business, and Fox News television, they picked up the story. And then after they picked up and they put her story on, then other television stations picked up the story, and then she was on cover of many magazines. As I was teaching her, her behavior was calming down in such a way that it was very easy. It was getting very easy to manage with her. So now that she's grown up, we bought a place for her to transition, because our plan is to see her thriving and happy, but away from us, so that we know that once we are gone, she would still have a happy and comfortable life. So the pandemic came. 2019, she was supposed to transition to the ranch, and the pandemic came, and we didn't. We were at home, and I started teaching her more stitching, and she started making masks. She made 150 masks, and we donated that to a church in Los Angeles. And so while the time was going on, I came to know that there is something called spelling to communicate. So we wanted to try that, and we thought that maybe it won't work because she has some speech. It's not like she's completely nonverbal, but still we tried. Don Mary from San Diego came here to San Francisco, and she did an evaluation. The evaluation was she was reading a story about Ben Franklin about electricity. So I was going to stop her to tell her that don't read her such elaborated and big stories. I wanted to tell Don Mary to read either about Sesame Street or Barney or something that she can actually relate to. But I didn't stop her because she was recording the session, the first session. And then she asked Siri, my daughter, a question. And then after she asked, she put a board, a letter board in front of her and gave her a pencil. So with that pencil, Siri started punching the board, and I had goosebumps. My husband was there, and I was in tears because she was asking which year was that, so what happened, and who did he go out with, which place was that, and I was so surprised that she knew all the places, she understood the numbers, and she remembered which year done the story was on. And that's when we recognized that she has a brain that can actually communicate, and then we need to put a board for her to communicate. And later on she told us her desire to go to school. She wants to study to be a neuroscientist, and we started her off in college. It all feels like a dream because all along we were thinking who will take care of her once we are gone. And now she speaks volumes, of course, with the help of the board. And her interest is to speak. And yeah, we are very happy where we are now. From the day she got diagnosed, she's much happier. She's very confident, and I do a lot of awareness about autism. I want other people to know that not to stop trying, keep trying with your kids, don't do anything drastic. We used to give her anxiety medicine when she was 22, after she was done with the college, with her school, special ed school. But later on we tapered it because she didn't needed those anymore. So right now she's not on medications or anything. And we made a movie of her life. It's My Name is Siri. um, so we will show the first clip we have. It's a trailer about her movie, 24 minutes. And it has our
When seeing this
sons
blog, I
also.
felt that there was
She
something
does a lot of
different
things.
about
She
her.
does exercise.
It is
She does
autism.
boxing. I'm always looking
Everything
for
is
the
gone.
next opportunity.
Everything,
What else?
everything that you hope for, all the dreams that you built, are destroyed.
I see too many young people today where autism or some other disability is becoming their total identity. There's sometimes a tendency to underestimate the ability of a person.
I would definitely characterize Siri as very ambitious and very determined, and with such a supportive family who are willing to move any obstacle in her way, I have no doubt that she's going to achieve all the goals that she has for communication and beyond.
What about one word to describe yourself? And
But it is.
no, rebel.
Who is the strongest girl in this whole world?
Siri, yes,
Exactly.
There we go.
Siri is the
Yes.
strongest girl.
Introduce.
So that's the trailer of the movie. It was on different many film festivals, and it's going to be on PBS San Francisco on May 1st and on Mother's Day. And I let my husband continue.
Thank you, Swathi. Thank you for having me here on this podcast. And thanks to Shannon and Autism Live team. Thank you very much. We really appreciate what you do for the community. And this is a great pleasure and also a privilege to be able to come speak here as a guest. And thanks to Swathi for all the efforts that she does, especially the Autism Awareness Radio Show. It has been running for several years on the internet, and we are happy to share Siri's story with all of the audience and with all the parents. And there are several reasons for that. Is because Siri has a very unique and interesting story. about how she grew up and how she developed and how she changed over time. Um, you know, each child with autism is different, so that's one of the reasons why they call it the spectrum, right? Um, autism spectrum. Uh, and so your child may be those are the parents that are on this podcast and who may be listening to this podcast. I want you to know that each child is different, so your child may be very different from what we describe our child to be, and your experiences may be very different from what our child's experiences were. But there are a few general things that we have learned as parents, and also, myself being a physician and a researcher, I try to understand the problem. I try to explore what are the options and what seems to be working, what doesn't seem to be working in Siri's life. So, in a way, Siri's life has become an experiment where we are trying to figure out things and learn from what she's doing and what she's capable of. So the first thing we realized from Siri's life is that ABAs seem to help. Obviously, at that time, this was 25 years ago. There was not much available as far as treatment is concerned. ABA was the first treatment that had some evidence behind it. And so we went ahead full steam with it, several hours, 20, 30, 40 hours a week. It is pretty taxing, and also it is very time consuming. Not only on the child, of course, who's going through it, but for the parents and the therapists that go through this also. So that was the first thing that we noticed. Um, so as Siri grew up, we knew that she's capable of doing things physically, because we allowed her to learn everything, riding a bikes, skateboarding, or riding a scooter, swimming, and all those physical activities she was very good at. She was also good at fine motor activity, but we did not realize that this activity will help her someday to be able to communicate. So, my next advice and recommendations for parents is that do not underestimate the physical activity side of things. So make sure that your child is engaged in some type of physical activity. The third thing is that being engaged in your child's life, whether it is the therapist, whether it is the activities, whether it is a hobby or something where a parent, we were lucky enough to be able to have one parent available. That was Swathi. Obviously it fell on her to be able to be available, to be engaged and get that interaction, social interaction, because it is very hard for them to interact with typical or peers. So those are the three pieces of advice that I wanted to give. Now, so Swati was talking about how she became very anxious after her school ended at age 22. That was a very difficult period for us also, because there was no program that was ideal for her. There was no program where Siri is minimally verbal, but she's very capable physically. So we were looking for a program where they would push her capabilities, but most of the programs were serving the lower functioning kids. So it was hard for us to. She was right in the middle. So she was she was very good physically, but she did not have language. So that was a big challenge. So one of the things that we noticed was that when when we realized that she was getting anxious, staying at home, and she was putting on weight, we got worried about it, and then we started her in an exercise program. And the exercise program was a pretty intense program. Um, the group is called Puzzle Piece Athletics that helped her, trained her 2 3 times a week, where she would go and she would go through this intense physical exercise program. And typically it is circuit training, weightlifting, boxing, and so aerobic exercise. And so pretty intense, I would say. She would start sweating in a few minutes. And we would worry about, at least I would worry about, is she able to do that? Because are we pushing her too hard? But the coach was very encouraging of her, and and he said that Siri is capable of a lot more than what she's actually showing. And so when I saw that, that she's capable of doing this exercise and being able to benefit from it, so we saw a big difference in her within a month or two, where she started losing weight, and also her anxiety started coming down with exercise. And then that had a very beneficial effect on her being able to participate, we being able to take her out, and a lot of those abnormal behaviors were decreasing. And then she lost about 30 pounds. And then we realized that, wow, the exercise part is so important. And as far as and then as we were observing this, I was in the healthcare technology field. I'm an emergency physician. I design technology tools for doctors and patients. And so I was looking for an opportunity where I could help create something for people with autism, where they can be engaged, not only mentally, but also be physically active. And that's how we came up with the solution. Um, uh, um, I wanted Casey to play the second video. Um, so we started a company. Let me give Casey instruction. Casey, play number 2 video now. So we came up with this device that you'll see in just a bit, the video of it. Okay, there it is. I'll describe after the video plays. So that is Siri on the machine.
Doing good. Yeah.
Just slow down, that's all.
So this machine, as you can see, it looks like an exercise machine, like a recumbent bicycle. But what you're seeing is Siri on the machine, but she's also interacting with the video game. And as you can see, the machine moves. You can stop playing the video now. Thank you. So the machine is a robotic machine, which means that the machine is able to move based on what is happening in the video game. So there are 3 components of the video, as you may have noticed. One is the machine itself, which is the robotic machine, where it looks like an exercise machine, where she's pedaling with her legs, and steering with her arms. The second piece um, in that system is the VR glasses, virtual reality goggles that she's wearing. And so she's able to see the game through her VR. So it is a very deeply immersive environment where she can see the forest, where she can see the path, and whatever is happening in the video game, she's able to see it. So the third component is the video game itself, where there is a mental challenge where you have to follow this path and you have to drive the machine, right?
To hit a rock.
Yeah. Thank you. You can stop the video now. So, so what this system does is, number one, whatever she does on the machine, which is the exercise part, where she's driving the vehicle, whenever she pedals, the vehicle inside the video game also moves. So she has full control of the vehicle inside the video game. And whatever happens in the video game, she's able to feel it. For example, she's able to feel the road. When she hit a rock, she was able to feel the jolt in the machine, and she can feel the wind, going fast. And when she's going uphill or downhill, she is able to feel everything that is happening in the video game. And then whatever she's doing on the machine, she's able to see it inside the video game. So our hypothesis is that when you put people in a situation like this, what we call a deeply immersive situation, and you provide them with a physical challenge and a mental challenge, that you're stimulating the brain to create new pathways, or also called neuroplasticity. We think that neuroplasticity will help. Again, this is our hypothesis, and we want to test it. And currently, we are planning to do some clinical trials where people, real patients, will be able to try the machine out and then give us feedback. And this is happening in the first week of May in Salt Lake City, Utah. So if you are in Salt Lake City, Utah, please contact us to be able to try this machine. And so so the idea is, when you put people in this environment, you are, number one, helping them engage physically and mentally, which we think might help with their symptoms. Number one, it may help decrease the aggressive behaviors. Number two, it may help with the anxiety. Number three, it may help with sleep, improve sleep patterns. And number four, help improve focus. So we'll be testing in the coming months and years to see how this machine can have a positive impact on the symptoms of autism. And that's our hypothesis. Again, it may or may not work, but we have a very strong feeling that it will work. So the startup is called Serica Therapeutics, SIRICA Therapeutics, and the website is sericatherapeutics.com. And please follow us. Swathi is on. What is your show address?
We have a YouTube channel for Siri. So if you are curious about how does she do these activities like boxing, and she does horse riding, she can skate, she can swim, she can do a lot of things that we actually started encouraging when she was very young. And we started training her to do a lot of things even when she was 6-7 years old, teaching her how to help in the kitchen, how to do the laundry, how to do grocery shopping. Now we have her make lists and stuff like that. We should always involve our children in everything we do. Even though we think that they don't understand, they hear everything. Now she tells us, our daughter, through the help of the board, that she knows and remembers everything from her childhood. And she says how she was treated at school, that nobody taught her anything that she could learn. And now we see her like a sponge, because anytime we take her to the sessions, She wants to absorb a lot more than she can. She does this a spelling to communicate at least 3 hours or more at a stretch. And even after 3 hours, she doesn't get up until we tell her that she's done. The way to know more about Siri is on YouTube. She is Designs by Siri / My Name is Siri. So if you are interested, please follow her. Again, the YouTube channel is Designs by Siri / My Name is Siri. She has her own online store. Again, it's designsbysiri.com. I do autism awareness show. It's in Telugu. It's on telugu1radio.com, where I talk about basic things, what autism is all about. And a lot of people from India, they listen to the program because there isn't too much awareness about it in India. And that's what I do. And then I take care of my daughters.
Yeah, feel free to post questions in the message box. We'll be happy to answer if you have any questions. So one of the key things we learned, with Siri, is that she was capable doing and thinking uh, like a regular person, like a normal person. And so one of the mistakes that we may have done, and other I see other parents also doing, is that they underestimate the ability of the person. So do not underestimate, because these kids are able to think and do, even though they don't appear that they are listening to you. They, even though they're not paying attention, we know that they're absorbing everything from the environment. So make sure that you assume competence, right? You want to make sure that they know that that they are capable, and be able to push, physically, and also in mental activities and physical activities, like a regular person. That will come very useful later in life.
Actually, we came to know, we am not we. Actually, I thought that I know everything about my daughter. I know exactly what she thinks and what she wants, what she doesn't like. Like, I thought that I know actually 99% of what she is, but I was wrong. Recently, I came to know that there is a condition called apraxia, and apraxia is a. I let him.
So apraxia is where you're thinking of doing something, but the body will not listen to you, listen to your brain. The brain is trying to send a message, whether it is an activity, whether it is speech, whether it is any fine motor activity, that that the person is not able to communicate with the body.
Yeah, in a simple words, the way I understood is the disconnect in the body is if you ask the child to do something, give me the phone, they know that we are asking them to give the phone, and they are capable of stretching their hand, pick up the phone, hold it, and put it back, put it on our hand, but their body will not respond to them. For us, when we hear any command, our hand automatically goes to the phone and picks it up and gives it to the people that wants the phone. But with autism, even though they know how to do it, they want to do it, and they do understand it, their body doesn't always cooperate with them. The other day, I was reading something on social media where the boy was explaining how difficult it is for him to do day-to-day activities. He was saying that his body is his enemy. His body does not listen to him, and he does hurt his mom even though he doesn't want to. And those are the things that really make me feel that there is so much that we don't know about autism. But then once we know what it is, at least we will learn to work around it.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the current numbers in the USA, there's autism is 1 in 36 children have autism, which is a scary number. And it keeps growing every year. Um, so autism is a very tough condition, because we don't know a lot about it. We don't know what causes it. although we know that there is genetic influences and there's environmental influence, but we cannot pinpoint exactly what. And there's no biomarker, there's no test where you can do get a blood test and get a diagnosis. All right, it is very complicated because it is a spectrum. Not only it is a challenge for the parents, but also for the physicians and the psychologists. The other bigger challenge is that it is growing very fast. The numbers are increasing, and nobody knows why. Every year it is growing by about 10%. The third challenge is that there's no one specific treatment or drug where you can give and expect that it'll get better. So the whole field is open. Of course, ABA works, and there are several other methods that where you're engaged with the kid and are teaching. Those things work, but there's no one prescribed method that will always work, right? Each child is different. So the best thing is to keep engaged and let the child lead you, but also teach them as if you would teach a regular person, a regular child, because they are capable of understanding, even though they are not capable of speaking, even though they are not appearing that they are understanding, they are understanding. They are able to get everything that they are seeing and learning. So don't shortchange. If you're a young parent and thinking, okay, what should I do with my child? Be as open and interactive as possible, and then teach them, things like you would teach a regular child, and never give up because there is hope. Things do get better as they get older, and as you see a lot of these interactions turn into positive outcomes for them in the future.
And as young parents, when we want our kids to be healthy, we'll do whatever it takes for them to be healthy and thrive. But the diagnosis really hits us in such a way that we think that the whole world has come to an end. But allow yourselves to go through that circle of disappointment. We go through anger, we go through disappointment. I don't know what the other stages are, but give yourself that permission to go through all that. We become bitter, we become sad, we become all that. But once we are gone through that, don't resist any of those things. Just let yourself go through the whole cycle. Once you're done with that, then you should know that you are the only one that can help your child. Nobody else can do it. Of course, we can find different therapies, but that is only until they do the therapy. It's not 24 by 7. And understanding your child and knowing that they are there, even though you feel that they don't understand anything, they don't have empathy, they don't love parents and all those things. That is how we kind of thought, because when there is no communication, how would you know that she is like us? Now that we know that she is a lot like us, we talk to her as if she does understand. And whenever we take her to the sessions, that's where she responds. But that training we can, even parents can learn. Since we just started, it's not, we haven't become fluent yet, myself and my daughter. But she told me that she wants to study neuroscience, which I feel very privileged that she told me. But there is a lot that we can do to help the children. Once we know what it is and why they behave the way they behave and things like that. And one thing is that there is no quick fix. People say that you do this, you do that, we will cure autism in 1 year. I see a lot of people and a lot of organizations claim that. It's a long process. It's a laborious thing. The child has to work, and also the parents. One thing I always tell on my radio show is you and your spouse have to be one team. It has a very huge impact on your marriage. Knowing that we should work as a team. Of course, sometimes you agree and you disagree and all those things. But one thing we should always keep in our mind is our focus is our child. and we need to provide them very loving and a stable environment, which means arguing, fighting, and those things we should be very, very, very minimal, because they cannot come and ask us. We should always put ourselves in our child's place. That's when we know how we want our environment to be. We make sure the television is not very loud. We don't watch the things that might affect her in any negative way. And anywhere we go, we take her. We never leave her at home. And sometimes, being an artistic family, people behave in a different way. Sometimes they mean it, and sometimes they don't. Many times they tell us to come without our daughter, even though she's not very disruptive. She does talk loudly, but we are very mindful of that. But what we do is we teach our children, the other typical kids, that people are not supposed to pick and choose who they want to come to their events. So if we go as a package. All five of us will go, or else sometimes we do leave all three kids at home. But that is how we do the awareness also. People seen our daughter, and she's everywhere we go. We take her to movies. We go to India. Now that pandemic has come, we don't travel often, but anywhere we go, she comes with us. And one day we asked her, how do you like about traveling? And she said, on the board, she said, it's excruciating. And I was so surprised, because her language is so what do you say, very high,
Well developed.
very well developed. And I always have my dictionary open to see what those words mean. And right now we are really enjoying her company. She's much calmer. She wants to be with us. She wants to watch TV with us. And she told us that she's more American than Indian. And she's very appreciative of us. And we didn't know all those things. We didn't know that it really matters to her if we were there or not. Even if we transition her, I would always ask my husband, would she ever miss us, because we will be transitioning her. And now she says that she doesn't want to move because she's not sure how her caregivers will be able to take care. No, all the typical worries that anybody else would have. She's a child that we never thought that we had before, and we just figured out, like, almost a year, or a little more than that. And if you want to follow her, she's everywhere. Designs by Siri / my name is Siri. If you want to know more about her, there's a YouTube channel. She has her own online store. You can actually see what kind of stuff she makes. And on YouTube, I always put her activities, including her jewelry making. She does a lot of things. We can teach her anything, and she's very patient, and she loves to create different things.
So one of the things that we did this last year was that actually make a movie, a documentary about her life, because one of the things we see is that a lot of parents are concerned about their child, other people knowing about it, whether it is parents or whether it is friends. They try to hide them. But then the more we expose them to the real world, and the real world sees them, that is part of autism awareness, right? People try to understand. There is a stigma attached to it. It'll take some time for us to get over it. But I think that is very important for other people to see your child, and also for your child to see the world, outside of the home, and school, of course. But as you develop that, you get more bolder, and also your child feels more normal. And Siri has this inspiring story. So we created a documentary, and it's called My Name is Siri. You can go to mynameissiri.com and also look at the trailer, and what it is all about, and the team that made it. It's an awesome team, and we actually had a premiere this year
And
in San Francisco Bay Area.
another thing we need to remember is, as families with autistic children, we need to take them into the community. What we do is we don't want people looking at our children, because we do notice that they are looking at us, and we do see that whenever we go out. But when I see that, I smile at those people. I tell them that I introduce my daughter, and I say that she's autistic. She cannot speak, but she understands everything, and she makes jewelry. She can skate. I mean, now I talk about the board communication, but what we need to do is we need to let people know why they are behaving the way they are behaving, because she has autism. That is how they would know. If not, yes, people will look, because of course they do behave differently. Or when we ask her a question, her voice is so loud that suddenly people excuse me, get they kind of suddenly look at her to see what's going on. But we need to educate people. The more we talk about it, the more we take our children out, it will become more normal. Most parents, we feel uncomfortable. Actually, I need to give credit to my husband, because he takes her everywhere he goes. But yeah, I think mainly your kids need to know that you're proud of them no matter what, and that's what actually gives them that confidence. Tell them that's fine, you have that condition called autism, and the way you behave, it's not because of you, because of the condition you have. And same thing with the other siblings also, we need to tell them that we do all these things with the special needs child because she needs it. Our middle child, Vamsi, he would say when he was very young, Mom, I wish I had some autism. And I would ask him, why do you need autism? He would say that I love my daughter a lot more than others, because I spend a lot of time with her. So he would say that if he also has it, he used to say that I would spend time with him. So I would tell him that if he wants something, he comes to me, but my daughter doesn't. So I need to pay more attention. And now that they are all grown up, they are very appreciative, because we were very transparent from the beginning, telling them about their sister and what they should do and what they should not be doing to help her. We always tell her to treat her, to love her like a youngest sister, but then respect her as an eldest sister. So we have to keep talking about her to the siblings, and we need to talk about our children to the family and our friends. Instead of keeping them away from the community, we should take them in as much as possible.
So one of the things that by the way, if you have any questions, please enter in the chat in the last few minutes that we have. I would be happy to answer any questions. So if you're interested in knowing more about the machine that we showed you, go to siricatherapeutics.com, SIRICA, siricatherapeutics.com, where we are trying to gather people and also run some studies to make sure that we are designing it the way it would work and also be useful for many. um, and of course, you can connect with me on LinkedIn. My name is Yuli K. Chettipalli, uh, and I'm on LinkedIn. And Swathi is on Facebook.
Yeah, everything is designed by Siri. If you are wondering what the board communication is, there are two methods of it. One is spelling to communicate, and there's another one, rapid prompting method. If you look up online, you will find Soma is the lady who actually came up with this method of communication. And even if they are very young, take them to different practitioners. It's all on internet. You can look up iasc.org, I think. I hyphen. What you need to do is always have a positive attitude. Don't compare your kid with typical kids. The way I keep myself encouraged is I compare her with herself from last year. I never have any, uh, I don't compare her with anybody else. Looks like our time is over.
Yeah, thank you very much for giving us an opportunity. Thank you, Shannon, and thank you, Autism Live team, for giving us this opportunity to be able to, participate in this podcastathon. And good luck to everybody that is doing this, and all the audience that are going through some, these challenges that are I would say difficult, but they are
Not impossible.
not impossible to get over.
Yeah.
So, best wishes to everyone, and